Hey, how you doing? I'm back. It's been a while. I took a little break, kind of took that time to edit some film, go over some content, get a good feel of what we were trying to do as far as with the brand and the message that we were putting out and really just getting content out to you guys. All right. But I'm still here. I'm still working in your favor, as always. I'm always here. I'm not going anywhere. All right. So I'll let you guys get on in here. All right, bring you guys on in. All right. So tonight, you look at the bottom of my screen, you see something that says Operation Dark Winter. There's a reason I want to kind of get into that with all the findings and what's going on as far as current state of affairs with the government lockdown that's looming, financial issues, banks closing out accounts, and of course the elephant in the room, the migration problem. Okay, so that is a thing right now. And we're gonna cover that tonight. We're gonna get into some stuff. Let you guys come on in, drop a comment, let me know you in the building, you're in the virtual building, or how that's supposed to roll. All right, get comfortable too with you guys. All right, of course, I'm sipping, doing my thing as norm. All right, now Operation Dark Winter was actually a kind of like a little board game done about let's say 2001. I'm gonna say 20. It's been a minute. So 2001. And I got a little information on it. We're gonna briefly look over or whatever. Um, so with this, get into it real quick. So Dark Winter at the time, it was like a little biological warfare game where they would sit here and where'd it go? There you go. All right. So Dark Winter was a scenario simulated involving a initial localized smallpox attack on Oklahoma City, just a mock city. The additional smallpox attacks caused in Georgia and Pennsylvania. The simulation was designed to spiral out of control and to be inherently unwinnable scenario. To create a contingency in which the National Security Council struggles to determine both the origin of the attack as deal with containing the spreading virus. By not being able to keep pace with the disaster rate of spread, a new catastrophic contingency emerges in which massive civilian casualties would overwhelm American emergency response capabilities. Okay. Now, this is 2001. This is just a simulation. They had like certain congressmen and representatives like play the president and play like joint staff and all that stuff, right? Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because I'm not sitting here trying to fearmonger with you right now. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay. What I want to do is point out that maybe they're kind of running this each winter on us. And this year, we're going to get a different outcome. All right. Like we already saw the 2019 scenario played out with the C-19. Like that was really one of those situations where it could have spiraled out of control, and it kind of did, but it was also forced with the lockdowns and the mask mandate. Excuse me. Okay, so right now we're going into dark winter with a looming government shutdown, um, political instability with Joe Biden, his son, and basically anything coming out of that man's mouth. All right, we have Trump on the verge of possibly being indicted and charged. Don't know how true that's gonna be. Don't know if it's gonna happen. He's out campaigning. He's on the trail. His date is in March. I just kind of find that reluctant. They put that date around that time. All right, and we have Brooklyn floodings, and we have the mass migration problem right now. All right, and this is all coming to a head with the government lockdown. And you kind of got to be blind to not see it. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's one of those situations that it's been coming for a while, and we're kind of going into the situation that this dark winter scenario could play out, but it's going to play out, in my opinion, in a different way. Okay. Now, In the actual exercise, they do smallpox. We got C-19, okay? With C-19, we got, like I said, the lockdowns, the mask mandates, curfew, people lost their jobs. Kids kinda lost a year in school and education-wise because they were homeschooling, but they really weren't paying attention, so they passed them anyway. Alright, there's a lot of situations that went on, but we didn't exactly crumble, okay? Now we had the migrant issue, excuse me, couldn't get it out. We had the migrant issue then. The migrant issue has always been a thing in America. That's always been a conversation, but they've always let them in. Why have they always let them in? Because they do cheap labor. That's the name of the game with America. They like slavery. Whether you call it slavery, you call it indentured servitude or employment, it's still slavery to some extent. Okay. But you know, we get the migrants that come in and they do the jobs that everyone else won't do as far as construction, and right now soon to be becoming a police officer and joining the military. All right. So these guys right now are coming in and they're not all bad people. I always want to make that known. What I'm saying is there are asylum seekers within those numbers that are coming in, but a lot of those numbers are military age males and they kind of, all look a little bit rough enough to be fighting the war themselves down there. All right. We got Venezuelan that just had 5,000 come over here and Trump is trying not Trump, excuse me, Biden's bringing them in, and Trump is basically saying, "Hey, you guys need to lock that up. I wouldn't reach a deal if you couldn't fix the border." And that's good and pertaining to the government shutdown, all right? So Trump is still kind of playing that hand in the background, and he's kind of playing, puppet master, all right? So even right now with all this going on, we got a situation to where you have mass migration again, and you have the crumbling of our infrastructure along with it. Now, there is something that caught my attention that's called the Cloward Piven strategy. Okay. And the Cloward Piven strategy is going into this dark winter. And I think this is another simulation or psyop of how they may try to play or create that instability within the government. Now, if anyone's ever heard of the Cloward Piven strategy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is really what I want to talk about tonight. All right. Because it goes to say that what they're doing lines up with this strategy that was written out in 1966 by two gentlemen regarding complete instability due to migration or migrant pattern, right? Okay. And with Dark Winter, the idea that there has to be some type of conflict for this to happen, the huge push, the the whole reset, right? This whole NWO, Illuminati, whatever, right? Excuse- So with the Cloud Piven strategy, I'm gonna share my screen on this one. We're really gonna get into this one. Give me a second. Screen share. All right. Now I'm gonna read through this. I'm gonna take my time. We're gonna get into it though. All right. Hear me out on this. It says first, well, excuse me, the Cloud Pivot strategy or Richard Poe, discovering the networks.org. All right. This gentleman is basically giving us the brief summary and small little dissertation on it. I guess that's the best way to put it, or an explanation. Says first proposed in 1966 and named after Columbia University sociologists Richard Andrew Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. The Cloward Piven strategy seeks to hasten the fall of capitalism by overloading the government bureaucracy with a flood of impossible demands, thus pushing society into a crisis and economic collapse. Inspired by Inspired by the August 1965 riots in the Black District of Watts in Los Angeles, Excuse me, which erupted after police had used batons to subdue an African American man suspected of drunk driving. Cloward and Piven published an article titled The Weight of the Poor, A Strategy to End Poverty in May 2nd, 1966, issue of The Nation. Following its publication, The Nation sold an unprecedented 330,000 reprints. Activists were abuzz over the so-called crisis strategy, or Cloward Piven strategy, as it came to be called. Many were eager to put it into effect. Yeah. In their 1966 article, Cloward Piven charged that the ruling classes used welfare to weaken the poor, that by providing a social safety net, the rich douse the fires of rebellion. Poor people can advance only when the rest of society is afraid of them. Clower told the New York Times on September 27, 1970. Rather than placating the poor with government handouts, wrote Cloward and Piven, activists should work to sabotage and destroy the welfare system. The collapse of the welfare state would ignite a political and financial crisis that would rock the nation. Poor people would rise in revolt. Only then would the rest of society accept their demands. Ho, 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 ho. All right. Now, let's look at our current state of affairs in our welfare system. It's shit. All right. It's not working. It's just making people real complacent, complicit, and pretty much docile, and that's almost the point. But in this situation, you got a whole bunch of migrants coming in, just comparing this, kind of dissecting this. Only when the poor make a fuss do you get some type of change. Now, it didn't say if it was natural or forced. We're gonna get into that. But regardless, it has to happen. Okay? It has to happen. All right. It says the key to sparking this rebellion would be to expose the inadequacy of the welfare state. Cloward and Piven's early promoters cited radical organizer Saul Alinsky as their inspiration. Make the enemy live up to their own book of rules. Alinsky wrote 1989 book Rules for Radicals. When pressed to honor every word of every law and statute, every Judeo Christian moral tenet, and every implicit promise of the liberal social contract, human agencies inevitably fall short. The system failure to live up to its rule book can be used to discredit it altogether and to replace the capitalist rule book with a socialist one. That kind of sounds like, what's going on right now with the New World Order, the force in the hand. We don't know what to think right now. You got everyone in America thinking civil war, possible nuclear attack, migrants being NATO. All right. There's some hints of what's going on. All right. I'm gonna get through this and we're gonna look into the UK. They got a lot of variables that are going into this right now, and it makes sense as to what's happening over there because the UK already pre-planned for this. Shared this article probably on my TikTok or my Facebook some months ago, but UK was already prepping for riots, prepping for a disorderly conduct or some form of riot protest. They had seen this coming. This is around the time Queen Elizabeth died that this report came out. Like they had already known it was coming. Okay. Like I'm gonna share a video. I like to get videos and visuals in, try to get receipts in with everyone. All right, we're gonna get back into this. The author noted that the number of Americans subsisting on welfare, about 8 million at the time, probably represented less than half the number who were technically eligible for full benefits. They proposed a massive drive to recruit the poor onto welfare rolls. Cloward and Piven calculated that persuading even a fraction of potential welfare recipients to demand their entitlements would bankrupt the system. The result, they predicted, would be a profound financial and political crisis that would unleash powerful resources for major economic reform on the national level. And at this point on a global level, because this isn't the only place that it's happening, this is happening everywhere. It's happening in Italy, it's happening in UK, it's happening in Germany, it's happening in the Netherlands. It's happening pretty much everywhere right now that they're all taking in these migrants and they're being overwhelmed. They're sleeping on the street, sleeping in precincts. You got governors and mayors asking people in America to take these folks into their homes or give up your rented building that you're using, right? Okay. Their article called for cadres of aggressive organizers to use demonstrations to create a climate of militancy, intimidated by threats of black violence. At the time, black violence, but right now we're going to get Hispanic or multi diverse violence and threats. Politicians would appeal to federal government for help, carefully orchestrating media campaigns, i.e., propaganda bullshit, people, propaganda bullshit, carried out by friendly left wing journalists, self explanatory, would float the idea of a federal program of income redistribution in the forms of guaranteed living income for all, working and non working people alike. Local officials would clutch at this idea like drowning men to a lifeline. They would apply pressure on Washington to implement it. With every major city erupting in chaos, Washington would have to act. All right. So we know what the migrants are being bused to all the cities. All right. Hear me out. Listen, we are really war strategizing right now. We're going to play this game. We're going to play this game. All right. You guys need to share this, get this out. We're talking some good gems tonight. All right. Now think about this. Every city before Washington, D.C. says something. Okay. Now, we know that all the migrants are being bussed out to Cali, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama. They're going everywhere. Whether they're announcing it on the news or not, this is happening. This is happening regardless of anyone saying something. If you believe that your elected officials are being complicit within nature, then maybe you need to start talking to and making those phone calls because right now it's a lot of them fairly complicit. New York, really the most complicit out of all of them in California, but we know why because it's New York and California. All right. This was an example of what are commonly called Trojan horse movements. All right. Listen to this. Mass movements whose outward purpose seem to be providing material help to the downtrodden but whose real objective is to draft poor people into a service as revolutionary foot soldiers, to mobilize poor people en masse, to overwhelm government agencies with a flood of demands beyond their capacity of those agencies to meet. The flood of demands was calculated to break the budget, jam the bureaucratic gears into gridlock, and bring the system crashing down. Fear and turmoil, violence, and economic collapse would accompany such a breakdown, providing perfect conditions for fostering radical change. That was the theory. Are you hearing me? Listen, listen. We're out here. I ain't, this isn't fear mongering. This isn't blowing dog whistles. This is facts. I am presenting receipts for you right now. And you can apply those receipts in customer service and find out that right now that shit's going to hell on as we speak. That's going on right now. Okay. This was written in 1966. The original strategy was written in 1966. We're sitting here in 2023 watching migrants come across the border in droves. And they're not even all from the Americas. We're getting people from all over the world right now. What's happening right now in New York and a lot of other cities right now is that they're trying to house them in hotels and whatnot. And I'm gonna hit you with a doozy on this video. Just wait. We gonna get through this, but I'm gonna hit you with a doozy. The video I'm gonna show you came from 2022. This man spoke on it 2022. We go get through this, all right? Now, what we're reading right now is if you're just joining, is the Clower Pivot Strategy, all right? This is basically explaining how to overload the system and how, and I'm relating on how this is going to tie into Dark Winter. This is really maybe how this is going to play out, because when they did Dark Winter, that was 2001, and biological warfare was the scariest thing possible. Well, it's 2023 and we've already been involved with it since 2020. So let's keep that shit a buck, all right? Cloward and Piven recruited a militant black organizer, George Wiley, to lead their new movement. All right. This is how they implemented it, and this is how they tested it. This is really one of the first psyops that they don't really want to discuss, right? Even though they shouldn't have been running psyops back then, but this is a psyop. I'm putting you on right now, all right? If you guys haven't heard it, Cloward Piven strategy. Get this out. In the summer of 1967, Wiley found the National Welfare Rights Organization, or the NWRO. His tactics closely followed the recommendations set out in the Cloward and Piven's article. His followers invaded welfare offices across the United States, often violently, bullying social workers and loudly demanding every penny to which the law entitled them. By 1969, the NWRO claimed a dues paying membership of 22,000 and a half families with 523 chapters across the nation. Regarding Wiley's tactics, the New York Times commented on September 27, 1970, there have been sit ins in legislative chambers, including the United States Senate committee hearing, mass demonstrations on several thousand welfare recipients, school boycotts, picket lines, mounted police, tear gas, arrests, and on occasion, rock throwing, smashing glass doors, overturned desks, scattered papers, and ripped out phones. Get ready. Get ready. I'm telling you now. Get ready. If you think I'm bullshitting, fine. Turn on CNN, turn on Fox, Al Jazeera, turn on any network right now and look at what's going on in Europe and the UK. And I bet you say the same thing. I bet you. These methods proved effective. The flooding succeeded beyond Wiley's wildest dreams. Right? Soul stirred in the City Journal. From 1965 to 1974, the number of single parent households on welfare soared from 4.3 million to 10.8 million, despite mostly flush economic times. By the early 1970s, one person was on welfare rolls in New York City for every two working in the city's private economy. As a direct result of massive welfare spending, New York City was forced to declare bankruptcy in 1975. The entire state of New York nearly went down with it. The Cloud Pilgrim strategy had proved its effectiveness. And what's New York doing right now? If you know somebody in New York, you need to tag them in this, because this is happening to them right now. This is happening to them in Houston and Eagle Pass, in LA, San Antonio, Phoenix. I just moved out of Phoenix 2 years ago. When I left, that place was turning into a shit show. And if you think I'm lying, go downtown Phoenix by the courthouse and you'll see their little homeless section, their tent city. It's abysmal and it's grown since then. I'm telling you, can't make this stuff up. The Cloward pivot strategy depended on surprise. Once society recovered from the initial shock, the backlash began. New York's welfare crisis horrified America, giving rise to a reform movement which culminated the end of welfare as we know it. The 1996 Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, which imposed time limits on federal welfare along with the strict eligibility of work requirements. Both Cloward and Piven attended the White House signing the bill as guests of who? Of who is that name? President Clinton? No. What? You mean America's favorite president that played the saxophone and liked to get his dick sucked? I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm gonna have to put this vibe, but that's okay because he did get his dick sucked. It's true. I don't care. I said it. That's America's favorite president. Black people said he's the closest thing to a black president at the time. Yeah, okay. While keeping you all put down on a welfare system, overwhelmed decades and generation, and not just black people. white people, Mexican, Asian, because the welfare system took everybody. Welfare system took all. So don't act like it was just, it was one group because to be honest, at one point, white people led the welfare system previous to all this happening. And that's just facts. And then once black people hit it, it was pretty much used like it was back then as a psyop and pretty much destroyed from the inside. That's why they call them the projects because they're running a project on you. You are the project. You're a science project, social project, economic project, medical project. Most Americans to this day have never heard of Cloward and Piven, but New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani attempted to expose them in the late 1990s. As his drive for welfare reform gained momentum, Giuliani accused the militant scholars by name, citing their 1966 manifesto as evidence that they had engaged in deliberate economic sabotage. This wasn't an accident, Giuliani charged in a 1997 speech. It wasn't an atmospheric thing. It wasn't supernatural. This was a result of policies and programs designed to have the maximum number of people get on welfare. You heard it. Giuliani, before Giuliani may have been a piece of shit somewhere after 9/11, and him raking in all that federal money and press. I said it. He may have actually had some common sense. We're almost done. We're on the third page, guys. All right. We're almost done. Cloward and Piven never again revealed their intentions as candidly as they had in their 1966 article. Even so, their activism in subsequent years continued to rely on the tactic of overloading the system. When the public caught on to their welfare scheme, Cloward and Piven simply moved on, applying pressure to other sectors of bureaucracy wherever they detected weakness. Now, there's a couple things about Cloward and Piven that I haven't mentioned, right? Now, if you listen to what I'm saying about them, what do they sound like to you? All right. One could say they sound like communists because isn't socialism backed off the foundation of that? Communism and socialism aren't too far off from each other. So one could say, are we dealing with those kind of people again? The deep state? Some people call them the U's. Some people call them the Yahtzees. Could be Operation Paperclip. Could be a lot of factors at play right now. 19 the mid 1900s, 60s, 70s, and getting to the late 1900s were a wild time for policy and leaders and people writing articles that seem very omniscient of what's going on right now. All right. Say what you want, but this stuff has all been out here for some time. In 1982, the partisans of the Cloward Pivot strategy found a new voting rights movement, which purported to take up unfinished work of the Voting Rights Acts of 1965. Again, piggybacking on events. All right. It sounds very similar to the Black Lives Matter movement, and that movement starting off fairly noble and then being piggybacked by bullshit. I'm just gonna say how it is because all those people who started Black Lives Matter are now dead. And I've already shared that video, and that's not even a secret. Okay. So we're starting to see similarities in our past and to what's going on right now. Right. Like ACORN, the organization that spearheaded the campaign, the new voter rights movement was led by veterans of George Wiley's Welfare Rights Crusade. Its flagship organization were Project Vote and Human Serve, both founded in 1982. Project Vote is an ACORN front group launched by the former NWRO organizer and ACORN co-founder Zach Pollitt. Human Serve was founded by Richard A. Cloward and Francis Fox Piven, along with former NWR organizer named Hubert James. All three of these organizations, Acorn, Project Vote, Human Serve, set to work lobbying energetically for the so-called motor voter law, which Bill Clinton ultimately signed in 1993. The motor voter bill is largely responsible for swamping the voter rolls with dead wood, invalid registration signed in the name of deceased, ineligible, or non existent people, thus opening the door to the unprecedented levels of voter fraud and voter disenfranchisement claims that followed in subsequent elections. Boom. Your elections have been bullshit for a long time. Please, please, let's get into this. You guys screamed Biden won this shit. You screamed Trump was lying. Listen, there's something to all of this. This goes back to Bush Jr. when he bullshitted his election. The elections have been bullshit from some time. You are reading it right here. You are hearing it first. The Daily Rabbit Hole has sat here and showed you the receipts. Receipts. You can go look everything up that I'm showing you. Go back, watch the video, and do your notes, do your due diligence. This is the filth of the swamp that we are all talking about. If you are sitting here still telling me red and blue matter, you have been deceived and you are lying to yourself. They are using dead people, ineligible people, non-existent, and open the door to unprecedented levels of voter fraud. This has been going on since 1993, courtesy of the Democrats. And let's not act like the Republicans have not prospered from it also. I'm on my bullshit tonight. Let's keep going. The new voting rights coalition combines mass voter registration drives, typically featuring high levels of fraud, with systematic intimidation of election officials in the form of frivolous lawsuits, unfounded charges of racism and disenfranchisement, and direct action, street protests, violent or otherwise. Oh, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about who? We're talking about Trump. We're talking about January 6th. We're talking about the only way that you can impeach a president is if he is basically involved in inciting a riot. All right. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read a little bit of that again. Typically featuring high levels of fraud, systematic intimidation of election officials in the form of frivolous lawsuits, unfounded charges of racism and disenfranchisement, and direct action, street protests, violent or otherwise. Becky, it's okay you showed up, Becky. I'm just warming up. Oh, don't worry. I'm getting warmed up. I'm getting warmed up. Listen, I got receipts tonight. I got receipts. Just as they swamped America's welfare offices in the 1960s, Cloward Piven devotees now seem to overwhelm the nation's understaffed and poorly policed electoral system. So in 2024, who you think is about to vote Democrat? Do you think it's us Americans or do you think it's the people coming across the border with the blue wristbands on, getting $1,000 checks, getting cell phones, getting free housing in hotels that have to be 3-star? That's in UK and here right now. Becky, let me catch you up. So we're talking about the Cloward Piven strategy and Dark Winter. And I've explained so far that I think Dark Winter is going to be played out differently. And I think they've been running multiple simulations each time. Each year during the winter in the last 3 years, something has transpired. Okay. So I'm thinking this is the last shit show act that they're about to pull to overload the system. And we all been talking about the migrants coming across the border. All right. We've been talking about that, and it can all be seen. And right now, reading this, it would probably safely assume that all 50 states are complicit in this right now, and this is a joint effort. If you don't think it's a joint effort, I advise you to turn on your TV. Even CNN's reporting this bullshit. Fox is reporting it. We on Al Jazeera. Everyone's reporting the same problem across the world right now with the migrants, and it's all matching the Cloward Pivot strategy. All right. I just want to catch you up real quick. Their tactics set the stage for the Florida recount crisis of 2000 and have introduced a level of fear, tension, and foreboding to U.S. elections heretofore encountered mainly in third world countries. What they're discussing right now is what we're saying around the world. You're pulling coops, you're out here playing with the election process, and everyone's playing a dirty game. The Electoral College does not mean an absolute thing. It has not mean an absolute thing in maybe the last 20 years with the voter motor bill. Now, prove me wrong. We got put this in your pipe and smoke it. Because right now, I'm telling you, this is matching to everything that's going on right now. Both the living wage and the voting rights movement depended heavily on financial support from George Soros's Open Society Institute and his shadow party. Thus, through whose support the Cloward Piven strategy continues to provide a blueprint for some of the left's most ambitious campaigns. And that is the end of that. Listen to me. I can't put this out any better than that. All right. I can't, without a doubt. Because ain't no way we gonna sit here and say that this ain't real. The Cloward Piven strategy, yes, they are giving a legal driver's license to the migrants. They cannot in California, the migrants cannot become police officers and work civil service jobs. You heard it here. Go check. Go type in migrants becoming police officers in any browser right now. Google has to spit that out. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. None at all. They're giving them jobs. The Venezuelans are about to get broken off. Why are the Venezuelans getting broke off so much? Okay. We're gonna take a quick video break. I want you guys to really watch this video, okay? This is really important. I want you to hear. I am giving you receipts on game plan, war strategy, and how Dark Winter may play out. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm not sitting here saying I'm right. This is just all pure research. This is all watching what's going on, okay? All right, I'm gonna get ready and go to it.
There's a report that came out of the UK of a guy saying there are UN troops being reserved, reservations in hotels for UN troops be coming into hotels in the UK.
So when the shit hits the fan, right, logically speaking, and we go into civil unrest, because that's where they're pushing us, they're wanting civil unrest, do you honestly think that they're going to bring our own army out to put us in check? No, they're not, because they're getting affected as well. If you didn't know, I'm going to tell you straight now, yeah? And as many people need to know this as possible. Most of the hotels in the United Kingdom have got contracts with the government where they have hired the hotels off them for the foreseeable. And we're talking millions and millions of pounds worth of contracts. So of course the hotels have shut down. Why have they shut down? Why have they offered them these contracts? Because they are housing NATO soldiers. Let me just repeat that. The government has got contracts with most of the hotel chains throughout the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, and they're housing United Nations soldiers. And what nation soldiers? And what they're saying is they're immigrants. Now, I implore you to go have a look at your local hotel and see what is going on. You will notice that there is a lot of young men, not families, not immigrants, and they're saying that these people are immigrants, but these people are young men in the early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s. These are United Nations soldiers that are ready for when we have civil unrest to be brought out onto the streets. You need to let as many people know this information and get people to go around and have a look for themselves, and you'll see with your own eyes, if you do apply a bit of due diligence, what is going on. These United Nations soldiers are there ready for civil unrest in this country. Again, our own soldiers are not going to go up against us, so they've brought in United Nations soldiers. So I've been saying this for a long time. Why are the hotels full of all these young men?
There's also rumour of this sort of thing happening in other countries as well, including Australia. And bear in mind, folks, if the government brings UN troops into your country, and these troops try to inflict themselves upon the population in any way, I mean, if any of these soldiers gives you any orders or tries to make you do what they say, I mean, this is an act of war. And it would appear this is what they're going to do, folks. They want to get the... this is something I said back in the beginning, that you'll end up with UN troops on your soil because they're not going to turn your own military against the people. In most cases, the military won't turn against their own people. So they'll send your military over to a foreign country to turn on them, and they'll bring foreign military here to turn on you. And you're just going to keep pushing until people rise up. That's what they want. They want revolution. It's going to keep pushing. They're going to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. You're going to take away your rights, take away your food, take away your ability to travel, take away everything until you stand up. And the point would be for people to stand up before the UN troops get there. That would be a good idea, because once the UN troops are there, it's going to be absolute nightmare. It's just going to be full-blown tyranny from the ground up. And that's what they're planning.
Guess what? Had to unmute myself. I clicked too quick. Listen up. Does that not sound familiar? Does that not sound familiar to us? How many times do we have to actually get the warning and not act on it? How many times? Like I love you guys. I love all of y'all. If you think I don't, listen. I always say the Daily Rabbit Hole was an accident. I didn't think that it would catch fire. We're growing at a great rate, and we appreciate you all. We do. All right. We absolutely appreciate all of you. What I'm saying right now, this is happening as we're talking right now. I've shared the videos on my TikTok, on my Facebook, Instagram. Listen, this is happening. This is happening right now. Let me cut to some comments, all right? Because I always include you guys. Your message matters to me. You guys give me information. You listen to me. You hear me out, and we have a good vibe on the page, man. We don't. You ever notice we don't have a lot of knuckleheads on the page, all right? That's because of you guys and great moderation from the staff, all right? Says used to talk about this back in the 90s, yet it hasn't happened yet. Wonder why. Listen, I'm telling you now, if if this is what's supposed to happen, Geneva Convention goes out the door. I'm letting you, I ain't even gonna go there. Geneva Convention's going out the door. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you why it's going out the door. Because you're on our land. All right. And I'm not one to act like this. I'm not one to get crazy and crazy patriotic. But listen, man, you're on our land now. This ain't nowhere else. This is America. This is this is home of the hustle, and this is home of the savages. There's some savages in this country. We've learned from our institute and our leaders how we need to move. This is why we move the way we move. It's because we've been taught this. Okay. All right, let's get it. Let's get Becky in here, man. Becky says, I know you're on a strong message right now, but I want to ask what Women Fighting for America claim she hasn't heard nothing about October 4th. Oh, so let's get into October 4th real quick. I was meaning to mention that, but I got on my Grizzy real quick. You know what I'm saying? All right. So October 4th is supposed to be a test of the emergency alarm system or emergency broadcast system, EAS, EBS, EMS, whatever. All right. It's all emergency management protocol. All right. So at 2:22 p.m. Eastern, I think it's Eastern Standard Time, we're supposed to get an hour long emergency broadcast test. I hear that if it doesn't go well on the 4th, they're going to do it on October 11th. Okay. So what I'm thinking, so how do you run an emergency alert system when the government shut down? because they're gonna let this government shut down. This is all part of the program. This is all part of the program, people. I'm giving you gems right now, and this is research. I'm giving you receipts, and I don't say that to sound condescending or sound arrogant, but at some point we got to sit here and acknowledge the obvious. Ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way we can act like this ain't happening. This is happening, baby. We here. We're here, and everyone needs to take it serious because when it boils down, we're here. The migrant conversation may have not been big 10 years ago, but right now, everyone's starting to notice and the news is reporting it. Why are the news outlets reporting it so hard? Because they want to create that distrust. We are for the small amount of people they know who don't trust the government, like me and all of you, they know we don't trust them. So it's not shock and awe with us. It ain't shock and awe. All right. It's shock and awe with the NPCs or the non-player characters, the ones who are trying to wake up. And I love all of you. I don't want you guys to ever think that I got a bias against the people who aren't awake, because they're gonna awaken at their own time. They're gonna get these gems when it's convenient for them to get these gems, and the universe provides the energy to get it. I am one of those people. All right. Let's get into some comments. All right. Now, this one's a long one. I ain't going to show it, but I am going to read it because it ain't going to fit on the whole screen. It says, this is from Miguel AC. It will only work if they plant evil shit distributors into peaceful folk as they always do. And second, they claim the other side started the violence, when it was the UN and the dark side that started the violence in capital letters. Once we immediately call out any and all violence and condemn the perpetrators to banishment from the peaceful revolution of love. All right, I'm gonna put that on the screen now. Oh, it shared all of it. It shared most of it. All right. Now, Miguel, thank you for that, because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We are watching this unfold. This Listen, the season finale may be two more episodes away. We here. The season finale coming up. It's going to be a spin-off after this called Bricks. All right. We're watching right now. Texas is being completely overwhelmed. Completely overwhelmed right now. No amount of guard, no amount of special Texas Rangers being implemented is going to stop this if the leadership or the head is complicit. I'm not blaming Governor Abbott for any of this. It could honestly be the representatives of Texas. I can't say who's really a part of this problem right now. But what I can say is that we're here. If you think I'm bullshitting, I listen, all this is verifiable information. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. How do we get through this? All right. Miguel has a good point. We have to condemn all of this. We have to say something. And I shared that Klaus Schwab clip where he does say there's a resistance in America. They're against globalization. They have a problem with the elites. You damn right we got a problem with the elites and globalization. How dare you? Dr. Evil? How dare you, Dr. Evil, sit here and point your finger at the United States of America, not the US Corp or the United States Incorporated, the United States of America, the Republic. How dare you sit here and point your finger at us and say we're against globalization and the elite? You absolutely are right. Look what you've done to us. Crack epidemic, mass incarceration, the opioid crisis, civil rights movement. I can keep going. Fast and Furious program. I can do this all night. How dare you sit here and point your finger at us and tell us there's the Americans have a resistance against globalization and elites? Yeah, we do. Because Carmea Dex says you have to tell the truth. The laws of the universe say you got to tell the truth. We can't sit here and act like y'all aren't doing something in the background. You're saying it openly in the substantial development goals. You're saying it openly in the UN General Assembly. You're saying it openly at the World Economic Forum. And this is all public information and viewing. So how dare you sit here and point your finger at us and say we have a problem with it? Yeah, we have a problem with it. All right. Y'all got me riled up, man. Y'all ain't got me riled up. This whole thing got me riled up, man. I just want to say, I sit here, I go through this research, and I want to make sure that I give you guys good information and I can line this up perfectly and let you know what's going on. I'm not out here to fearmonger y'all. I'm not out here to scare nobody. I'm out here to wake up people and open up your third eye. That penile. Open it up. Take a breath of fresh air, put your feet in the dirt, and get a whiff. Because let me tell you right now, our government is on some bullshit. Point blank, period. Point blank, without a doubt. It's been seen, it's been known since the 50s. It's been known really since the 40s. Really since the 40s. I might give baby boomers the benefit of the doubt before the 40s, but after, ain't no way you couldn't have seen it. Ain't no way. Miguel got a good point. He says peaceful, nonviolent revolution, no bloodshed, easy solution. Take over the entire global media machine and play a video 24 hours a day, and then after 24 hours on a timer, then leave, then live interview. Excuse me. We show the entire world what is happening all at once. Hey, I honestly thought about that. That we should literally sit here and have a day when me, you, and everybody else goes live and just start posting videos and documents of our own perspectives of what's going on. There wouldn't be nothing they could do. The moment they shut that down, we know what time it is. We would know. If you think TikTok is for us, TikTok is still them playing with us. That's the mass psyop and to speed up the whole agenda because TikTok is like social media on meth. And I'm on TikTok. Don't get me wrong, I get a lot of reach on there, but I absolutely can't. I absolutely despise TikTok some days. Ooh, excuse me. Absolutely. All right. Now, I do have more content to share. I appreciate you guys sitting with me. It's a late live, it's Friday night. I wanted to do this. You know what I'm saying? I want you guys to make sure that you're out there getting this good information, right? So before I share this next video, I do want to say, hey, please subscribe to the Daily Rabbit Hole. I put out content on there that I can't put on the front page. Why? Because I'm gonna get banned. I'm gonna get restricted. I probably get restricted in there, but you got a better chance of seeing it in the subscriptions than you seeing it on the front page. And yes, I am gonna do subscribe special exclusive content. Okay. I am gonna do that. All right. Now, bear with me as I get used to all of this, but I am going to work on it. Now, I'm going to share another video about the Cloward strategy, the Cloward pivot strategy. All right. This is another gentleman's opinion on it, and he's saying the same thing. I always want to give you guys good video content, whether it comes from TikTok or the Internet Archive. I give you that content. All right. All right. Here it is.
That teaches exactly what's happening. It's called the Cloward pivot strategy. Look it up. Fact check me on this. It was first proposed in 1966 at Columbia University by a professor named Richard Clower. And you know who went to Columbia? Who was taught this curriculum at Columbia? Well, lots of notable presidents, cabinet secretaries, and attorney generals. To name a few, remember 2016 who was president? Oh, Obama. Yeah, he went to Columbia. Madeleine Albright, U.S. Secretary of State. Anthony Blinken, current U.S. Secretary of State. Harold Brown, previous Secretary of Defense. Bill Barr, the previous Attorney General. Eric Holder, the Attorney General before him. And this is just to name a few, right? So what exactly is the Cloward-Piven strategy that they teach there? Well, it's a strategy to speed up the fall and collapse of capitalism by systematically overwhelming the government systems with a flood of impossible demands. And it ends up pushing society into a crisis and an economic collapse in order to, get this, bring down America and the entire capitalist system. Yes, this is real. This is what they teach. Cloward-Piven strategy. Look it up. Now, this Cloward-Piven strategy teaches people how to overwhelm the system with massive spending, entitlements, and debt. Sound familiar? And the goal is literally to collapse the entire economy, wipe out the middle class, and bring a nation down to their knees, begging the government to save them. So what's this strategy all about exactly? Let's dig into it a little bit. Now, in the 1966 article, Cloward and Piven, that was his wife, they charged that the ruling classes, the rich, used welfare to weaken the poor, and that by providing a social safety net, that the rich were basically holding the poor people down. They were preventing them from rebelling. They said in the paper, quote, "Poor people can advance only when the rest of society is afraid of them," end quote. Cloward told the New York Times this, quote, on September 27th, 1970. Now, rather than giving the poor, government handouts, wrote Cloward and Piven, activists should work to sabotage and destroy the welfare system because, as they said, in their own words, the collapse of the welfare state would ignite a political and financial crisis that would rock the nation. Poor people would rise in revolt, and only then would the rest of society accept their demands. What a strategy. Now, the key to sparking this rebellion would be to expose the inadequacy of the welfare state. Cloward-Piven's early promoters cited radical organizer Saul Alinsky as their inspiration. You might recognize that name, Saul Alinsky. He wrote a book called Rules of Radicals. It's what Obama says that he read. It's what Hillary Clinton said they read. If you read the book, it's going to explain a lot of what's going on. One of the things that he wrote in his book is something saying, quote, "Make the enemy live up to their own book of rules." So, when pressed to honor every word of every law and every statute, every moral tenet and every implicit promise of the liberal social construct, human agencies inevitably fall short. The system's failure to, quote, live up to its rulebook can then be used to discredit it altogether and to replace the capitalist rulebook with a socialist one. So that explains the plan. But how did they plan to implement it? Okay, well, a key component of the plan involved fooling the voters by calling yourself moderate and a uniter, even though you're a radical Marxist, and to never, ever admit what you really believe in. It involved demonizing your opponents by calling them evil, greedy, extreme, radical, and a terrorist. Look in the mirror and call your opponents the very things that you are. The plan teaches to always hide your true intentions, or in other words, lie or misrepresent, whatever you want to call it. Obamacare is about saving the uninsured as opposed to, income redistribution. Government regulations are to protect us from global warming as opposed to, wiping out small businesses. Amnesty for illegal immigration is about fairness as opposed to creating 12 million new Democratic voters. Now, the key to it all is to what they say, boil the frog slowly. So by the time he realizes what's happening, he'd be cooked. The authors of this strategy, proposed a, quote, massive drive to recruit the poor onto the welfare rolls. They calculated that by persuading even a
All right, I'm back. All right. Now, I shared that for a very reason, just in case I had to recap anybody that came in late, right? Now, I'm not making this up. This is happening right now. The UK is in a shitstorm right now. France has been in a shitstorm for the same reason that what was it? A migrant reported police brutality and the migrants started rioting. Okay. What do you think is about to happen here? What do you think is about to happen? Okay? It's happening. It's going down. We just need to make sure that we handle this accordingly. We handle it nonviolent. We make sure our voices are heard, and you protect what's yours. You protect your home, you protect your family, you protect whatever it is that you need to protect. Because if you look around your city right now, your city looks real different. Eh, Without a doubt, your city looks completely different right now. Why do I say that? Because you have those people walking around right now. You have those people showing up right now. And I'm used to it. I saw it in Phoenix. It's normal out there, but you can tell Phoenix social services and their welfare system is completely overwhelmed. And right now, the government is going to shut down, right? It's happening. Government is going to happen. Right now, it's being reported that the House spending bill is dead on arrival with McCarthy. Go ahead and look on any news network right now. CNN, Fox News, We On, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, it don't matter. Right now, House spending bill dead on arrival. This we got a couple more days for this government shutdown happening. Why is this government shutdown so crucial? Because this is the real one. This is the fiscal year. If anyone's ever worked in government or had government contracts, you know the fiscal year matters. We're not talking about the market year that starts in January in quarter one. We're talking about the fiscal government year. This is really the most important one. And if you understand what's going on, you understand the welfare services rely on the fiscal year. They have to allot that money for the fiscal year. Guess what? There's no money if they don't print no more money out. Becky says, was it Marjorie Taylor Greene was on tonight assuring people's checks will still be out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I hope she's really for us because she does a lot of bulldog shit. I'm gonna be honest. Like she's a tough nosed one, but I just don't know, is she causing the disinformation or she's really trying to help us? I don't know. But I hope that these checks still roll because our service members are still out there. They're still out there fighting a good fight, even though they may not understand what they're fighting for. Because everybody that joined the military ain't completely patriotic. I'm keep that a buck 50 with you. A lot of people's situation is so bad that they rather join the military. And that goes into what's going on. Inflation is terrible. At least with the military, you get free housing, you get free food, and they gonna put clothes on your back. Can't really beat that deal. Free medical care and education. I'm not saying everyone need to join, but what I'm saying, it ain't a bad deal, but you getting involved in some BS. So with this cloud pivot strategy, we're watching all of our welfare systems. New York right now is trying to put these people in hotels. And what did that gentleman say? That they were putting NATO up in the hotels. UK's putting them in a hotel and it gotta be 3-star. They can't have roaches. And I'm not saying that these people deserve to be in harsh conditions. That's not what I'm saying. That's nowhere near what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they're getting special accommodations that we as Americans can't even fucking get. We can't even afford a 3-star hotel. Some people can't. We have our own poverty issue here. And this people right now sitting on the poverty 10, 20 years. That's at least 2 generations of poverty in in the projects in the welfare. Like I come from a neighborhood like that. I was never on Section 8. My mom did what she could, man. She worked her ass off to make a life for us. But where I'm from in Alabama, that's normal. That's 3, 4 generations worth of welfare system. These people have been indoctrined into thinking that the government owed them something. And what you think these people coming over here gonna want? They getting cell phones and vouchers as we speak while their children are being sold into slavery. And don't think they not selling their own children. In Vietnam, during the Vietnam War, people were selling their children for bags of rice, and I met them in the military, and they worked in the cafeteria. I worked in food service in the gym. I always tell y'all, fold the towels for this country, and I scrambled eggs. I'm not gonna lie, I'm Air Force. I'm not that. I didn't join the Marines or the Army. I'm Air Force, as you call the smart branch in the chair force. I mean, yeah, we're kind of lazy. We're kind of lazy in the Air Force, but this this is a thing right now. We're out here watching our whole entire welfare system be collapsed, and we're sitting back watching it. And you guys, not you all, the NPC people, everyone who hasn't awoken yet, they're sitting here watching this shit happen, and they're arguing over this. I'm not arguing over this. I refuse to argue over this. Why would I argue over this? I'm not arguing over this. This is stupid. This is stupid. Black, white, blue, brown, green. Man, we got a common problem right now. Complete common problem. And as this plays out with Dark Winter, we're gonna get into a place because our food is governed by the federal government. Everything we do is governed by the federal government. So if they decide to shut down, sure, the first month might not be that bad. But who's to say it doesn't prolong? It could just be what they do in January. In our income tax around February, they shut down, go print out a whole lot of money and come back to us. But I don't think that's the case. Excuse me. I think that they may try to draw this out because they're all complicit. Remember, they got satellite phones if anything crumbles. Communications is federal. So communications go out because somebody decides to drop an EMP during this level of dark winter, the third year of our dark winter. What are we supposed to do? If the grocery stores aren't getting the shipments from transportation because they're federal, so is the rail system. What are we supposed to do? Shipments federal. All the shipments that come in are federal. So what happens? I know Marjorie Green Taylor said that we were going to pay people during this, but that's not guaranteed. None of this is guaranteed right now. We have to take this with a grain of salt and prepare ourselves for the worst possible outcome that you may have to sit it out for a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a month. If this October 4th broadcast is real, then things may hit the fan because I've heard everything from zombies to frequency attacks. I don't really think it's going to be zombies. I honestly don't know. I still question the purple lights. I understand frequency can do a lot of things to the human body, but I can't sit here and definitively say that it's going to be zombies. I can't. Have we had situation of zombies? 2012 during the Miami incident and across America for about a month and a half. You know, there were some weird incidents, but I can't sit here and tell you straight face that we're gonna have some type of zombie pandemic or epidemic. I can't. That's not something I can really tell you. Becky, I hope she's right. I try to have faith in our leadership, but it's hard. It's so hard. I don't know who to trust at this point. But what I can say is that I can trust greed and I can trust our officials to do what they've been normally doing. And as this 2024 election come up, I guarantee these migrants are gonna vote, and they're gonna vote for whoever gives them the money and makes them feel warm and fuzzy. Hey, someone caught on to what I said. Kelly O'Brien says, "You ever read the book Cell by Stephen King?" I have not read the book. I did watch the movie. I am gonna go back and read the book. I do like reading like that, if you guys haven't noticed, but I am gonna go back and read the book. I saw the movie with Samuel Jackson. I think that's Cusack also in it. I thought that movie was very interesting because they played on frequency, but see how they played it was more of some satanic kind of stuff, like the dude in the red hood. And that can say, that could be the red shield. You know what I'm saying? I look subliminal within those look and within those movies and those looks. So the kid in the red hood could symbolize the red shield. And if you know who the red shield is, the red shield is the Rothschilds, because that's what that stands for. Angie Lancaster says they can't vote. The Constitution says no. Angie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Which Constitution? Because are we talking about the Republic Constitution or the corporation Constitution? Yes, Kelly O'Brien. There is a movie. Go look on Amazon Prime or Netflix, but I know it's on Amazon Prime for a fact. It's called The Sale. I think it's on Netflix too, and I think it's free on Vudu right now because I'm a huge Vudu person. I love movies. So go look on those 3 places, but I know on Amazon Prime you can watch it. Go watch that movie, and Imma be honest, it was pretty close on that. Like, I thought that movie was a pretty good depiction, and Stephen King, I'm a Stephen King fan in spite of him being a weirdo, and I thought I saw Stephen King, like, 10 years ago in 2012 in a bar in Alabama. Like, I was out one night and I swear I stared at this man for like 20 minutes. I swear he looked like Stephen King. Cause Stephen King, if you've ever seen a picture of Stephen King, he looks like a real creep. He looks like he don't go outside often and all he do is write. Like he looked like he sniffed panties. Angie Lancaster said the Constitution of the United States of America. I always want to throw that in of America because there's two of them. There's the incorporated constitution, which is kind of some BS, and then there's a republic, which is us because we're not a democratic. I like to not think of us as a democratic group of people. We're a republic. But the Cell movie, it was dope. It was an original concept, but it always makes me wonder where they're getting these ideas from because the government has to clear off on these movies. You guys do know that, right? Like the government gets the first look at the movie and they have to say yay or nay. This is why Stanley Kubrick in Eyes Wide Shut had to take out like 17 minutes of certain parts of the movie because the government said, "Nah, that's not gonna happen." So the government is watching these movies and they get the first glimpse and they say yay or nay on it. All right. So understand that I think the sale was a loose prediction. That's just my opinion. My opinion only. Take it with a grain of salt, right? So the October 4th broadcast is gonna be for an hour. I heard it's 24 hours. I heard it could be 3 days. Goes into the 3 days of darkness or the 10 days of darkness or dark winter. I do think that it's strange that October 4th they decided to do this emergency test. I do. They say that it does not matter that you put your stuff in a Faraday bag. We're gonna test that theory out because I have Faraday bags. I do. Here's one right here on the side of me. Right? I have Faraday bags. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people they know has a problem with globalization and the elite. Why? Because I have an insane amount of time to go through this information and I know how to go through this information. Becky says she was told it was a microwave. They're saying right now that even if you put it in a microwave, that's not going to stop it. They're saying that it won't stop in a Faraday bag. We're going to test that theory out. They're saying your TV's going to cut on. I'm going to cut the volume down so maybe there's no frequency coming out because frequency is sound. So if there's no sound, then there's nothing you can really do. Do I care about it? No, because I didn't get vaccinated. And I said this on this live. I didn't get that shit. I don't have a thing against vaccinations. I just have a thing against that vaccination. And at this point, what I've read about vaccinations, I'm probably against them now. Ain't no way. Now, we talked about the DARPA. We talked about, the nanoparticles. I've mentioned that before. And we talked about frequency. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed anything strange in your cities, but I'm going to tell you what, the strangest thing that I've noticed is all the purple lights. It's a reason I do my background like that. The purple lights. Go into high traffic areas and you'll start noticing purple lights. They say there was a defect with the LED bulbs, but why aren't you fixing it? And we know purple and blue lights have medical use. If you have jaundice, people of color have jaundice. Every now and then, they tell you to put your baby under a black light or a purple light or a blue light. Plants, you can grow them under blue lights. Semen, bodily fluids, guess what? A black light. So if black lights have all these kind of applications, then what is it to say that these purple lights or these black lights that we're seeing right now don't have any applications? They have to have some form of application. I can tell you now, if you've ever looked into one, it makes your head hurt. I've looked into one. It makes my head hurt. This is the I like again, it's all around you. It's all around you. Yes, Angie, they did say aluminum foil. You could make one with the aluminum foil. If you get a couple layers, it would help out. You're not wrong. I heard about that. I did hear about that too. So that's also a thing. What I want to tell you is Lashante Rose said Faraday bags. Lashante, I just put it on here. I got Faraday bags, right? One right here. I got two. I got one big one to, put like my tablet and all that in, and I got a small one to put my ham radios in and cell phones and anything small like that. You can find those on Amazon. They got them. They got like a 5 pack for 17.99 right now. You can go on Temu and get them. You can go you can go a lot of places and get them. Okay? So don't think that you're at a disadvantage. You got time to prepare yourself. Are you crazy for preparing yourself? I feel crazy. I do sometimes. Like I listen to myself talk. I can hear myself talk. And when I talk about my Faraday bags and doing all of this stuff, I have to take a step back sometimes and realize that I like maybe I'm losing my grip on reality, but I'm not because the news is reporting it too. So clearly I'm not tripping. I can go find this information willy nilly. I don't use Google. I go on Brave. I go on Mojik. I go on Firefox. I go on Opera. I use the index. DuckDuckGo sometimes too. But, you know, there's things that we have to be careful of. Becky says, unfortunately, I have a pacemaker. Becky, I don't think you'll be affected by this. Only thing I'll tell you that may affect you is an EMP. And I don't want to scare you or fearmonger. I just want to be honest with you, Becky, because you've been very loyal to the Daily Rabbit Hole, and I feel like I should still be honest with you. Okay. Lashante Rose says, "Yep, Amazon. Amazon has them. Of course, they're gonna capitalize off our fear, off our concerns of what's going on. If you don't have your pews in line, you don't have any backup food. I know money is tight. Man, go get you a couple cases of canned goods. Go get you some rice. Go get you some beans and a lot of cases of water. I'm gonna be honest. You can still do $3.99 for a couple cases of water. I'm not trying to shame nobody. I'm just saying there's things that you can do to survive a couple weeks. At least you got a couple weeks to think about what you're gonna do next. instead of sitting there panicking and may have to go outside within the pandemonium itself when it's going on. And that's if it happens. I could be wrong. Like right now, to be fair with you, this could go as the government shuts down and a week later they get another spending bill and we keep going and we don't have any problems. Nothing happens. But any event that something does, you can at least be prepared. Even if you got some ramen, ramen might not be the most healthy thing in the world, but at this point, being unhealthy and being hungry is two different things. Like your body will purge the toxins out of everything else once you go hungry because your body's going to eat the fat and whatever else is inside of you that ain't supposed to be there. So, me personally, man, go get you cut some cases of water. Go get you some noodles, beans, rice, simple things that can sit on the shelf for at least a year or two and do what you can. 3 weeks is good enough. You just got to figure out how you can protect it for 3 weeks. 3 weeks is better than 24 hours. 3 days is better than 24 hours. Shit, some people may only have 12 hours worth of food. We don't know everyone's situation in this country, but I can imagine that it's tough right now with inflation and everything going on. Yeah, go get you some sugar and some salt, not that synthetic shit. Get you some good, the good stuff, the natural stuff that as natural as you can get it. All right, Kelly O'Brien, I missed that comment. I'm gonna put that on here. It says they say the illumination flakes off. They operate with ultraviolet light shining on a phosphorus coating, similar to how fluorescent lighting works. But the phosphorus is coating the outside, and the LED is actually purple that stimulates the phosphorus. Thank you for that. Now, what does that mean? It means that the light on a biological level, maybe a molecular level, has some effect on your DNA or the nanoparticles or whatever they put inside of people during the whole C-19 incident. I've heard, like I said, we've heard zombies, we heard mass hysteria, we've heard a lot of things. I can only hope and pray that it's nothing insane. Oh, Darren Smith has just gave me something good too. He said they've been spraying heavy metals in the air, putting them in the food and water. Now I know it's not the Fauci ouchie, but you never know how them frequencies will hit. Darren's not lying. Think about this, right? Barium and aluminum is used for cloud seeding. Like, have you ever came outside and looked at your car after you maybe got some dew, that morning dew on your car, and you notice that there's some type of weird spots all over your car or weird coating? That's not from nature. It's not what you think it is. That could really be heavy metals. So to detox heavy metals, I use chlorella or cholera. You know, from the south. I don't pronounce everything correctly. But I use that to detox heavy metals. I do a fast every month. I'll do like a 36-hour fast, sometimes 48, just depending on how I'm doing. But I do a fast every month. I'll try to sweat everything out and I just won't eat nothing. I'll let my body kind of eat up everything and get it out, use the bathroom and all that stuff, right? But these are things that we got to do because everything has an application now because of technology and DARPA. Lashante Rose says soup and rice, popcorn, different things that you can buy that are affordable to survive on. Listen, if you got to eat popcorn and rice and water, then so be it. Is it pleasant? Probably not. But you better buy a lot of seasonings. All right. Lashante Rose giving out gems right now. She says she takes sea moss. I do sea moss also. Now you guys got to be careful with a lot of the sea moss because some of it is artificial, kind of grown on a farm, and you got to find the right kind. So do your research on that, but make sure you guys are detoxing. Listen, if you can buy yourself little food tablets, that'll probably do you better because if you can get the calories, you're fine. The MRE will put you ahead, but a food tablet, that kills everything. That CMOS curves my eating because I'm getting all the nutrients that I would get from food within the supplement, so I don't eat as much. Yeah, I still drink water because I got to, but I'm not eating as much. I may eat like once a day. But if you have unhealthy eating habits, you know, a lot of the stuff we eat isn't real. It's all chemical. So you're still putting it back in your body. It's just a revolving door of BS. But with everything going on with the Cloward Piven strategy and what we're watching with our borders in the upcoming election, you need to know it's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. It's gonna be a show before it really hits the fan because they're bidding for the last president. As far as the QFS and all of this and the SARA, JASARA, the NWO, I think it's all the same thing. I just think one's honey and one's shit. Sometimes I can be grim, but I don't do it on purpose. I'm just really honest. But there's ways that you can get out of this. Do you have pew pews? I hope so. Do you have food stocked up? I hope so. Get yourself some band-aids, some medical kits, maybe stock up on your medications if you need them. But that's expensive, and inflation is killing all of us. So for me, I can only tell you to do what's in your means. I won't ever tell you to spend all your money and do something crazy and do all of that. No, that's not what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is tell you do what's in your budget and put yourself ahead maybe a week. At least in a week, you got time to think on a full stomach. Because I don't know if any of you have ever been hungry or homeless or in a bad situation, but you're gonna make a terrible choice when you're hungry, and you're more likely to do something stupid because you're hungry. Ooh, 6 hour P365 all day, every day. She said six saucer, but I think she meant 6 hour. Is that what you mean? Are you talking about pew pew, Lashante? Because I feel like maybe you dropped that C in there. Let me know what you're talking about. I could be wrong, but I'm reading. I could be wrong. That's a good one too. I'm looking at something too right now, but I haven't made a move. Oh yeah, I figured that's what you were talking about. I know it's a 9 millimeter. I know which one you're talking about. I've seen that one. I have. It's pretty. It is. It's optic ready. It's lightweight. It's not too bad of a recoil. Um, yeah, you're good. You're good, Lashante. I knew what you were talking about. You're on subject. Don't trip. It's all right. We're having a good time right now. You are you drinking? Is that why you spelt it wrong? Trust me, my words come out a little bit different when once this kicks in. But this is me having a conversation with you guys on a Friday night. All right. Hopefully it's not too choppy and I'm in and out. I know that's an issue with, Facebook or LifeLog, whatever you want to call it. But I try to make sure that, I speak clear and precise because I know there's about a 5-10 second delay and I know it gets choppy sometimes. She said I was earlier. Man. It's Friday night. It's been a long work week. Get yourself together, get up tomorrow morning, get you a good walk or a good stretch in. Make sure you take deep breaths and get that oxygen in. But yes, home defense is necessary. Listen, if you guys email me, if you guys need information, hit me up in the inbox, talk to me. I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to give you information. I was say more than welcome, but I felt like it was going to be wrong. I'm drinking, but hit me up. I'll give you guys the information. I don't mind sharing it. Talk to me, man. You guys know I'm always on there. But you need to get your stuff together because this is it. The fact that this is happening at the fiscal year says that we're probably gonna get ready and go into there. We're gonna probably hit them trenches. And I don't want anyone to fret or be afraid or feel like there's some anxiety involved with this. It is a little bit, but don't forget to live your life. Don't forget to still smell the flowers and be a good-hearted person. Like go out there and be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I know that's cliche, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I don't want to fearmonger you guys. I'm just here to give you guys the truth and spread it and make sure that you guys are prepared and you understand what's going on because I know in your daily lives it's hard for you to maybe keep up with all of this. And in hell, it's hard for me to keep up with all of this. But I'm here to make sure that this message gets out. If you guys need info on pew pews and tactics, I'm more than happy to help. Home defense, food storage, anything like that. I'm here to help. Angie says we've all been duped. We all need to repent. It's socket this week. Be blessed. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not well versed in all religions. I read a little bit of everybody's stuff, but I'm not well versed. I'm well versed in the main three a little bit. We'll say the two. We'll say one. Actually, I'm not well versed in all of them. I take that back because I don't follow any of them. I just read from their text and their scripts, and I try to decipher and understand what that is. Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, so we're entering basically the ritual age, the ritual times, because the fall is a huge ritual time for America. A lot of rituals, a lot of holidays, which are all rituals in itself. There's a lot of stuff going on. So Angie's giving out gems. Guys, look into that. Do your research. I appreciate you all who give information like that. But tonight's show was really good. Uh, we're an hour and a half in, but the cloud pivot strategy is real, and that was what tonight's show was about. Excuse me. It was Dark Winter and how the cloud pivot strategy is going to play into the Dark Winter because they got to create the chaos. Well, create it and bank on our reaction. So you guys be vigilant. You guys pay attention to the things that's going on in your neighborhoods. You guys look around. Any questionable things, hey, say something or call the authorities if you decide to call them. But be careful. Don't run up on nobody getting crazy, trying to. You don't know what no one's thinking. You don't know what no one's capable of. So don't go out here trying to be super cop or super citizen. You do have the right to citizens arrest, but them days are long gone. People will stab you. People will cause bodily harm. They'll shoot you. They'll do anything to get away. So I really want you guys to understand that we are in trivial times right now. And we're in a place right now where we need everybody and the masses to wake the hell up because it ain't about white and black. It ain't about who's better than the other. We all bleed red. We all got the same spinal cord. We all got the same body parts. And at this point, the quicker we realize and the quicker we mount up and create our tribes and communities, the better off we'll be. Because I'm telling you now, what you're seeing in the UK, and before I go, I'm gonna share one more video with you guys, and this is what's going on in the UK. This is pretty much, I think this is about 2 weeks ago. All right, maybe a week. All right, here it is right here.
There's a report that came out of the UK of a guy saying there are
Get them out of us. Liverpool not having it. Get them out. Get them out of it.
All right. That was the UK. It's also happening in Ireland, it's happening in Scotland, it's happening in France, it's happening in Italy, it's happening in America. It's happening everywhere right now. People and instability is happening. It is going around like the plague. People are going to get riled up. Times are difficult. Food is scarce. It's not scarce yet, but it's pretty scarce if you don't have the money. We got a lot of issues going on. Okay. Remain level minded, have faith, and don't go out here and do nothing crazy, but protect yourself at all times. Protect your loved ones. Do what you need to do. Stock up. Because after the UN General Assembly in New York, understand that Zelensky is getting $325 million in U.S. aid, and the government's getting ready to shut down. And this is what McCarthy is fighting over right now. And we are arming Taiwan, and it is heating up with China right now. And America may have made a deal with the cartel, and they may have made this deal 10, 20 years ago, and we didn't even realize it. So before I get off here, I want to say stay steadfast, stay smart, stay dangerous, and be smart in all of this, man. All right. Protect yourself, pay attention, and do what you need to do to make it out of this. All right. This is the Daily Rabbit Hole, and you